Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am at Imperial College London.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I was here like 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, 5, 6 years ago maybe. So I'm here today with Courtney from Nerd to Fit, also PhD students who I met not too long ago. So can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. I'm a PhD student here at Imperial. I also have a YouTube channel which is Nerd to Fit, where I share my PhD experience and some tips.
Yay!
Amina does.
Super exciting. Your first year PhD student is so daunting, and I feel like there's just so many questions in your head, so many issues you're going through. A lot of the time you're just by yourself as well.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a kind of like a letter, I guess, to first year PhD students, even second year PhD students who might be going through a few things and just want a bit of kind of encouragement and reassurance that everything is going to be okay. You're in your second year.
Yeah, so I'm like 18 months in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
you're a lot fresher than me. So you can give us...
I'm looking forward to finishing, hopefully.
So the first thing is to focus on understanding your topic. So you probably come into this PhD, you know that you enjoy, let's say, biology, or you know you enjoy chemistry, but then your PhD is on a very specific topic. So make sure that you're reading loads of papers to try to understand what it is that you're doing. I'll be honest with you, it's only until like my third year that I completely understood what I was doing and why I was doing things.
Trust me, like right now I'm still so lost in a lot of aspects, and it's easy to get overwhelmed because of that. You feel like I should know more, I should have my ideas together. And a lot of times you speak to some probably more mature first year students, and because they would have been in industry and they come in with a particular idea of how their topic is set up, they know more and they're more prepared.
Exactly. And I mean, not just reading isn't the only way that you can go about doing that. Go to seminars, go to conferences, even at different universities. Apply for going to conferences abroad as well.
Yeah.
Find out how much money there is in the pot for you to travel and use it.
and use that money
use
to
that
travel.
money. The second thing that we would recommend is to present your work any way you can. In your first year, you probably have nothing.
probably really little.
But it's fine. Present it. Find somewhere to present your work, be it at conferences, like small conferences, seminars in your department, your university. Find places.
Or in your research group. I think your research group and your department are really good places to start. Because you're a bit shy, you don't have a lot. Maybe it's just like your methodology or ideas that you have. But whatever opportunity it is to present, it's an opportunity for you to grow. People ask questions from a different perspective than you're approaching your work. So it's really good when you do that to kind of identify areas that you're probably not looking at that is needed, that you need to do in your PhD.
You are identifying issues that you can kind of tackle before you get to the second or third year, things that you may not have thought about, other people have tried before and didn't work or did work. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you're first year, don't be afraid of trying it out. It not only does it help you, but it looks good as well.
Yeah, and it also puts you out there in terms of collaborating with people in the future on different research papers. That's really useful in terms of publishing later on.
Okay, so the next tip is to find a community, find people that are like-minded and accept them and go to social gatherings. Don't think that you have to spend all your time in the office, in the lab. That's not what it is. You'll burn out, you won't last 4 years at all. Go to do things, like I think I went to the different gym classes with my lab mates. I went to salsa after work, like on Fridays with a lab group, and we did so many different things that meant that we were not only able to connect on an academic level, but also on a personal level, and that helps so much.
I think it's a similar thing with me actually. Even within the office, we always have these random discussions, not related to our work at all, but also I picked up pole class with one of my office mates. She's actually really good. She started it first.
So cool. Where'd you go?
Imperial. The IC Pole Society.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the gym became like a second home for me, just because it's something else that, you know, I think in your first year you feel very incompetent or lost in a sense, and that being able to lift heavy and stuff like that in the gym really translates it into.
All right, so the next tip is to ask lots of questions. Now, do not be afraid of asking questions. Asking questions is not a weakness.
It is not.
Not a weakness. And I think this is a big issue as PhD students. You've probably gone through life in secondary school, in sixth form, in college, in uni, being the top of your class, you knowing everything. And then you come into the PhD and you are an imposter. And you really feel like you don't belong there.
You feel like you do not belong.
You feel like, why don't I know this? I should know this, or I should expect to know everything. But don't feel like that. Come in there with a blank slate.
Yeah, that's true, because at the end of the PhD is when you will be an expert in your field. That is why you have 3 to 4 years to do that. You're going to explore that topic. So it's really, it's not bad to not know something, and ask questions, not just to your supervisors, but maybe experts in the field. When you're reading around and you identify different people, pop them an email. People are generally really willing and open to meeting, having a cup of coffee or tea or something. And that's a good way to just bounce ideas off of you.
The next tip that I've spoken about before on my channel is to identify a skill that makes you employable outside of the lab or outside of academia or outside of your PhD research topic. Find something, that doesn't mean you're actively looking for something else, but it could just be, maybe even if it is within academia, a skill that you could take to another project. Because what can happen is you become an expert in a tiny field, which means you're either going to have to stay in that field forever or you'll graduate and you'll be unemployable because you're overqualified, you don't have transferable skills, and you're basically stuck. So try to find something. Now, one thing that I recommend, which is really, really useful nowadays, is coding. So if you can code or use any of these kind of softwares or languages, if you have the choice to be able to try that out, I say go for it.
Identifying the skills that are needed for the job that you kind of have in your mind as the ideal job, but it won't just limit it to that. Simple skills as being able to speak at a conference, maybe joining Toastmasters or something like that. I think as academics, one of our challenges is communicating our research, and being able to do that's a skill to work on itself. I think that's why I kind of picked up YouTube.
Okay, so the next tip that we had for you guys, you first years, is to offer teaching. So offer to teach postgraduate students in postgraduate courses. So I didn't do this. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, I do. I've been doing it since my first year.
Oh, really? It's really cool. I didn't do this, and I remember seeing it all the time, but I just didn't take it up because I thought it was too much work, side by side to my PhD. But you essentially would go into master courses, and you'd either either teach, or you'd help out in the labs, or you'd be like a lab assistant, or different aspects. But it's really cool because you not only get to try out a potential future career if you want to go into lecturing, but it's also financially
viable. You get to save some money or make some extra cash, especially in London when it's really expensive to live here. But it's really helpful for me. I demonstrate. I'm a tutor for a master's program, so I've helped them with their stats courses as well as.
Next tip we had is make an effort to get involved with other people's work in your lab, or in your, I say lab, in the lab,
or in your office,
in your lab, in your group. One thing I didn't appreciate is that you probably are looking to get published, really quickly, or to get at least 2 or 3 papers maybe out of your PhD at least. But you can get more than that if you assist others. Now, you don't have to be forceful about it, and don't try to make it obvious that you're trying to publish and stuff. But just ask if people need any help, or if you can assist with a topic or a particular method that they don't do or they need help with. So what I did was I have a biology background, and the person I helped had a physics background, and she needed some Western blots, and I was doing loads, and she said, can you help me out? I was like, sure, yeah, why not? And I didn't even think she was going to put me in the paper, because I just did it out of kindness, and then she put me in the paper, and I was like, okay,
that's
cool.
good.
Thank you.
That's
I didn't
really,
expect that at all.
That's a really good tip, because collaborate with people, both in a lab or within industry.
And again, this builds relationships, not just academic, but I think obviously by helping other people out, you're going to gain more friends, and I guess it's always good in the long run. It's your network as well. When you graduate, they're always going to be around, in different fields or in different sectors. The next tip we have is don't get overwhelmed by everything. So you're in your first year, and you're probably like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't understand this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. And you're probably feeling super, super overwhelmed.
And the time starts going really quickly.
You don't have any results. That is okay.
And you haven't really defined your research question yet either.
It's fine.
And it's fine.
It's fine.
You're in your first year, and I think that is expected.
Yeah.
And a lot of supervisors know this.
Yeah.
And they would tell you not to get overwhelmed. We're saying not to get overwhelmed.
Don't.
Easier said than done,
Yeah.
but try not to.
Yeah.
Remember that your first year is really about exploring, which is what we're talking about. Exploring and understanding and trying new things to see how you can implement them in your work.
And you know, mental health is a big issue with postgrad, especially PhD students. And this is one of the reasons why, just feeling like you're going to fail, like you're overwhelmed, no one to speak to, you're lonely, and just don't feel like that. I promise you, you will pass at the end of it. Everyone goes through having a year of getting nothing done, not knowing what's going on. It's not just you. We all go through it. We all went through it. So just remember that it is tough. I'm not gonna lie, it is a challenge. It is hard to get over that hurdle of not having a direction sometimes and just not knowing what you're doing. But that is part of the process. That is the process.
It is the process, and when you get to that point where you understand or think you know what you're doing, it's a really good feeling, and it makes the struggle really worth it. I think I've kind of figured out a direction. It took me 18 months, but even though I have done that, I'm still lost in different aspects, and probably don't even have my research questions narrowed down. So just know that it is normal to be lost, and try not to compare yourself to other people. I remember that other people in your office or a research group, they're in their third year, and not because you see somebody working from 9 to 9, it means that you have to do that.
No.
Just take some time and step away. If you ever feel really overwhelmed, speak to someone else, or just take a break from your work. It's not going to hurt you in any way. It's just going to help you.
You've got 4 years, like 3 to 4 years if you're in the UK. If you're in America, you've got even longer than that, 6, 7 years. You've got plenty of time, a week off, a couple of days off, just taking a break, just to get your mind reset, to get yourself back in that zone is really important.
Really.
I made a point not to come into the lab on the weekends, just because I felt like on the weekdays I felt so overworked, and kind of like by the end of the week I felt sick of things not working, especially in the lab where the temperature can affect it. If the building is shaking a bit, it can affect, like literally anything can affect your work, and the cell's not growing and you don't know what it is, and it's just so frustrating. So sometimes I just say to myself, like, I'm not going to go in on the weekend. I don't care. I need those 2 days where I am not thinking, or like, you know,
not doing anything to work through PhD.
So on Monday I feel so much more fresh, and I come in and I'm actually ready to do it all over again. But had I, you know, just gone through Saturday, Sunday, on Monday I would be drained, and by the end of that week I'll be.
It's really exhausting, and I see a lot of people experience burnout just because they feel like they need to be working hard all the time. It's not worth it. No.
You've got a lot of time. Utilize that time. Go slow and then get faster as you go along. Don't try to finish the race in your first year.
No, and
you don't have to do that.
Be realistic in when you set up your timelines, because that is another thing that could overwhelm you when you look at the timeline on the Gantt chart you had and you're nowhere. I just ripped mine off the wall.
One thing that I said, I think in the previous video, is be ready to accept change. The question, even I guess you're writing a question at the moment, like you probably at the end of a PhD, if you look back at that question you're writing now, it will be a bit different.
My question has changed like 10 times.
That's fine, you know? It's completely. And the last point we wanted to discuss was the upgrade or the mid, what do you guys call it?
We call it early stage assessment.
Early stage assessment, so that is an assessment that you have kind of halfway, or between 12 months to about 18 months, I guess, of your PhD. So the first year and a half, around that time. And it's basically to kind of assess and just to check that you are okay with your supervisor, with your project, that everything's going fine. You've got the question, you've worked on it a bit, you've thought about it, you've identified, you're able to discuss that question and you're able to kind of have a conversation about it. By that point, you should be able to have a conversation.
12 months.
I was so stressed out.
Me too.
You did yours recently, I'm guessing.
I did mine last year, and I was very stressed out. And when you speak to all the PhD students, you'll realize it's really not. You shouldn't be stressing about it. at that point, they just want to know you have an idea and you have a research question to that, and you probably have a methodology. It's just to see that you're not just wasting time. That's what they want to see. They know the challenges that you're experiencing in your first year, but it's just to see that you have something that could potentially turn into a thesis. So don't.
I still remember that day. Like, I still remember that day. I remember the whole, like, the week before thinking I could potentially, like, fail. This could be my last week doing a PhD. Like, I actually thought like that. But that's because that's what you think. You think it's an assessment. And like they're gonna say that you're not good enough to carry on.
And then because that first one is just like, okay, you're either gonna get an MPhil and they're gonna kick you out, or you're gonna continue. And I was so overwhelmed.
I was super stressed.
I even did a video on that day. On that day, I think. And I was like, okay, I just passed. The worst thing that could happen is that they just ask you to make adjustments and maybe come back and have a review. They're not going to be like, okay, well, that's it, get out. No, that's not going to be the case. One other point, I guess, coming off of the assessment or upgrade is criticism and comments. When you submit work to your supervisor, you're going to get comments, but it's important to not take these too hard or personal. It's for your development, it's for your growth, whether it be in the way in which you write. It's going to take time to maybe start writing academically. And don't be too bummed by it, because your supervisor's comments or internal comments are a lot less harsh than you would get from a reviewer. So it's just preparing you for the academic work.
This is a nice long video. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to do another one, but dear fourth year, like third or fourth year PhD students.
I'll look out for that one.
I can give a lot of good tips for that.
Yeah, because I'm going to need that.
Alright, so take care and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!